Hello and welcome to the first national broadcasted debate for the Vice Emperor position of Vooperia. If you're here, it probably means that you're interested in our politics and methodology. If you're not here, you're missing out. Welcome to a truly historic occasion, the first Vice Emperor appointment in this way. We have Pope and Etho, who are going to be our two contenders. They're currently the top two choices and have kind of blown the competition out of the water, so we're giving them the space today. We're going to be talking about a variety of topics today, going from immigration to the economy to whatever the heck they've come up with as their bills. So it's going to be a good time. If you're not aware of what the Vice Emperor position is, they serve a permanent seat on the Senate. Well, permanent unless they are impeached, but that would never happen. And other than that, they are basically one of the heads of the nation. So we're going to see what happens. You guys can both, starting with Pope, take just like 30 seconds to introduce yourself.
Okay. Hello everybody. I'm Pope Francis. I am this is my first time running for, obviously, but like this is my first time running for a position that isn't the Senate. I've been in the Senate since day one. The original Senate, I was in it. And I wrote bills for everybody, for all the Vooperians. Bills ranging from structure for the Senate to civil infrastructure for NerdCraft. So that's pretty epic. I'm here because I want to make a change in Vooperia. I want Vooperia to become a country that is looked upon by other people as amazing and beautiful. And I want people to see this country as different than other people's, which is really good. And I hope you guys will support me.
Well spoken, Pope. Now it's going to go on to Etho.
Hi everyone, I'm Etho Sign.
Oh, one second. Let me up your volume there.
Sorry.
Okay, now go.
Alright, perfect. Hi everyone, I'm Etho Sign. I am a Spookvooper server and a current senator for the Los Voopers district. Now, I have been around for a decent amount of time. I've been around on the server 17, and I've gone through many versions, and it's outstanding community and forums. And that's why I'm so passionate about running for the Vice Emperor position. Now, I believe that we have an outstanding system in terms of our stock exchange and the upcoming economy that will come with the NodeCraft system. And I want to ensure that a company is trading that, making sales, have the ability to achieve as they can and unlock the potential of their own business. And that's why I believe that as Vice Emperor, I would be able to any restrictions that the government would be putting on that would cause government hindrance upon these businesses, and for people to truly achieve whatever they can with their businesses.
Okay, nice, Etho. I'd like you to go into your settings and turn your volume up a little bit more. You were cutting out a little bit. But the point definitely was gotten. The first question obviously is going to be related to the economy, because currently that is probably the most active part of a Vooperian's life. Recently, the government has passed a stimulus bill to transfer 40 million credits into the government account and is slowly funding the UBI, which is giving most Vooperians their base level of income. Some companies are in place to give employees cash, but for the most part, the UBI is what feeds the Vooperians and houses them. What will you, as Vice Emperor, do in order to decrease the dependence of the Vooperian people on the UBI and push businesses to actually pay their employees a fair wage? We're going to start with Etho.
Now, one of the most important things about our economy thrives is that we have to go and invest in bring once employees are within, they are
Etho,
able
you're
to
really cutting out, man. Are you on a phone?
No, I'm not. Let me see if I can. That better?
Unas pluas Obamas.
Am I coming out
Said it.
better?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. Now, in order for us to really see businesses thrive, the server, both on NerdCraft and in the Discord server, we need to ensure that there is an ability for businesses to have the money to not only invest in their own product and bring it out to who are, but to have a for it. The UBI, while a system that works for the time being to ensure that the some sustenance in order to survive, not a permanent solution that to ensure that we have a consistent flowing, ensure that
Okay,
can
you're
afford
cutting
to
out
have-
way too much. What we're gonna do is let's try switching to Spook Vooper. It may just be direct calls are currently lagging, so
Yeah.
let's try Spook Vooper. That's going to just show a
Should
random
I-
part of my screen now.
Should I just go to general? Or...
Yeah.
Run
I'll pull you into the
Inter-
right channel. I just want to
Alright,
make sure that you guys can both be heard.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll go to general.
Boop. Okay.
All right, there we go.
Etho, just talk for a little bit, just for like 20 seconds straight.
According to all known laws of aviation,
Hello. I like pee-pee.
fly. It's
No
tiny
homo.
little wing.
It
Yeah,
works.
you're still
Slap body
cutting
off the
out,
ground.
like
But
every
of
5
course-
seconds.
You are still cutting out. Why is X Bomber here?
I'm gonna test my Discord audio real quick.
What's up, X Bomber?
Okay, we're gonna try to figure out these technical difficulties. Sorry, bear with me. You want to see cool pen spinning tricks? Oh, damn it!
What the issue might be?
That's a really
is
small
that
pen. Okay, ready?
It might be an internet issue.
Yeah, possibly.
All right, if I consistently
The small
cutting
pen.
out.
Yeah, you are consistently cutting out. Could you?
Can they hear me on the stream right now?
I can't hear you.
I
Can they
Evan,
hear
I've
me on the stream?
been-
Okay, let's try this pen. This one's pretty exciting. There we go. Whoa.
I'm watching you, you're like- I'm watching you right now, you're like 5 seconds behind.
Whoa. This
Yeah,
is
I can hear it's cutting out on stream.
Wow, do not pay attention to the fact that the interview is currently paused. Pay attention to the cool pen tricks, yo. Whoa.
All right, I'm gonna. Is it still cutting out?
Yeah, it is. It's still cutting.
God damn it! I'm gonna try. That actually might give us a better chance at this. sound.
I can't keep people entertained with pen spinning for too long. I need some backup here. Look.
Should we just? Do you know what we'll do while I work out my mic to talk about his?
I'm sorry, I'm arguing with Tycho in the chat currently.
We
What
can
el-
have.
What else? Everyone say hi to the banana. Hello, banana. I'm going to be interviewing you about the economy. Yes, banana. Okay, this isn't gonna work. I'm sorry, banana. We're gonna have to take you out.
Is this better?
I mean, you have to talk for like 20 seconds.
Alright, I'm speaking, continuously speaking, until I eventually get to the point where it can be decided whether or not I'm making actual audible statements. Did that cut out?
No.
No, that was good.
No, that was actually not bad.
Alright,
was-
I'm on my phone now.
Okay.
You actually sound a lot better.
Do you want to
Alright,
switch
perfect.
to? Okay, let's switch back to the
Bruh.
private one, so that
Alright.
people can see who's talking. Oh, there we go.
Alright.
Okay. Wait a second.
Alright. Does this work?
Where is this current call at? There is the current call. That does work. Just okay. Well, we
Alright,
can just
perfect.
ignore the last like I don't know 10 minutes. Me interviewing a banana. That's all over now. We're now talking about important issues. Okay, so just because of how much you cut out, Etho, I'm gonna give you a chance to talk about your economy platform again. So go ahead.
Good idea.
Alright, yeah, sorry about that cutting out like that. So,
He muted
Alright,
himself.
so-
Oh,
yeah. No, I'm back. Yeah, sorry about that.
That was okay.
I was like, is he out again?
No,
Good
yeah,
job.
so, Basically, what I was trying to say before is that the UBI, while a system that works in the short term and keeps our economy afloat while we're looking at a mostly dead economy due to the fact that we're running only off of stock trades right now, it's a short term solution. And while that works for the short term, it can't work for the long term. And that's why we need to start focusing on finding ways before NerdCraft to increase the amount of money that is going through the stock system and to ensure that businesses are able to make money and bring in employees and pay them. There needs to be money flowing in the market. Now, obviously, this is a very long-term thing we're looking at, but one of the major issues that we face with that causes the economy to have issues is the amount of regulation that is on businesses, specifically in the amount that they're taxed. The current tax rate on the corporate tax is 20% right now, which is far too much for any business, especially in this time, to make any money. While it's reasonable to see that we need to fund the government, we also need to ensure that citizens are making money. And the UBI just simply isn't enough to spur it.
Okay, Pope, I'm gonna allow you to respond to that before putting your platform up.
All right. So, one thing that I think is very important about the UBI is that it brings new members of the community. Really, it brings them into our community. It allows them to feel like they're making something, that they're important, that they're not just nothing. Because that's very important to me. I think that everyone should get an opportunity to do something great in this community, and I think that new white names should be given the same opportunity as a person in the Corgi rank. But the important thing is the thing about the UBI is that it can't last forever. The amount that we're pushing out right now is not going to last forever. What we need to do, and this would be my plan, is once NerdCraft starts, I plan on lowering the UBI to a level because it would allow. Okay, so right now we have the UBI because people are unable to buy things or sell things or really get a job. It's hard. It's really just banks right now. Once we get NerdCraft up and running, there will be a way for people to make money. There will be a way for people to sell things and buy things, and so that's important. So my promise to all Vooperians is once NerdCraft happens, I will lower the UBI to a reasonable level that will allow people to still have enough money to, pay their taxes and stuff, but, not so much that it bankrupts us. So that's pretty important to me.
Okay, good response. So one thing that is concerning to everyone in Vooperia right now is the fact that right now the economy does not have any produce or products, which means that when the money goes into companies, nobody's pulling it out to pay debts. One of the things that's going to happen during your reign as Vice Emperor is once NerdCraft is released, we're going to have to deal with a massive withdrawal from the stock market in order to buy goods on NerdCraft. We are going to see a recession. Etho, how are you going to prevent the recession from completely crashing the Vooperian stock market? Etho?
Sorry, could you repeat that last bit?
I said, when NerdCraft is released, obviously we're going to have a situation where people are pulling their money out of stocks in order to buy goods on NerdCraft. How are you going to prevent a total stock market collapse?
Now, obviously, there is a amount of money is being held in the businesses right now that have. We need to probably some form of spent for at least.
Etho, you're cutting out again. No. No. Is your
Is this
internet?
better?
That
Yep.
is better.
Yep.
Just
Yeah, coronavirus Wi-Fi, that's what it is. No bad. Right, so...
Can I just interrupt that Tycho is using the chat to spread stuff about me without giving me the opportunity to respond to any of them?
We are going to ignore Tycho in the chat.
All right, because yeah, sorry to interrupt.
His chat will not be effective at getting any questions onto here. Don't worry.
All right. Am I audible?
You are audible.
All right. Cool. So
Oh, but you're cutting out. Oh my god.
my connection is struggling.
Do you have anything else running that you can turn off? Do you have 4G, 3G? There must be something we can do. Okay, so, Etho, we're gonna see if you can figure that out. We're gonna let Pope answer the question while you do that, and then
Alright,
we'll go on to
there
you.
we go. Is this good?
Oh, wait, okay.
Alright,
Etho,
cool.
just talk for
Yeah.
a bit.
According to all known laws of aviation, a bee should not be able to fly. Its tiny wings are too small to lift its fat body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyways, because bees do not care what humans think is impossible.
Okay, you're
Yellow,
fine.
black,
You're
yellow,
fine.
black.
You're
Okay,
fine.
perfect.
You're fine.
Alright, so, anyway. Yes, so, obviously, we're going to encounter an issue with the large amount of money that's going to be transferred out of companies almost instantly, and that's going to devalue stock. We need to, while I believe that it's important that we have as much economic freedom as possible, we should look to have some extent of a cap on sales, at least for the first couple weeks, to ensure that the economy doesn't collapse inwards. That would obviously be determined by the Senate once collaborating between different senators to find a certain cap would be, and once that it would be achieved.
Okay. Pope, would you like to respond to that?
I actually think Etho's idea is quite smart. But when I thought about this, I thought the first thing that came to my mind was, is it possible to possibly hand out beginning checks to people who are entering the NerdCraft so that doesn't happen, or at least as badly? I heard Etho's idea, and that changed the way I thought. I'd like to emphasize while we're on this subject that I'm going a little off subject, but this is important, that when a problem like this is shown to me, the first thing that I think about in my mind is, who do I talk to who knows more about this than me, that I can figure this out and talk to the right people, rather than making stuff up about me and making stuff up just because. I think about, who do I need to talk to that knows this information and will make sure that it's right. So in the event of this situation, I would actually do what Etho's saying, because he seems to be more educated on the stock market than me. But I know that when an event like that happens, I will always make sure to find the right people to solve it, in the Senate especially.
Okay. So, a question was just DM'd to me, and it's over a it's over a change that I made. And I think it's actually a good one to bring up another obvious contrivance in the community. So recently, I announced that the kid-friendly rules on Spook Vooper were dialed down a little bit, so we're allowed to have a little bit more mature content. With it, the website has a host of stocks that are named, well, let's just say names that generally we would not like to see on the website. I did say that I would be taking these down. Now, the question is, how will you, in the Vice Emperor position, balance freedom of speech for Vooperians with their right to express themselves? And that'll be starting with Pope.
Okay, this personally is very important to me. Freedom of expression and freedom of speech are rights given in the Constitution of Vooperia. And while the importance of those two are very important, and without them, people, we couldn't talk, we couldn't have actual discussions, people would be, censored. But the thing about that is a lot of people tend to be trolls and immature and do things that are dumb. One thing that I would do to make sure that those things are upheld is that it's simple, common sense. If someone's making a political opinion about somebody else, they should be allowed to do that. If they're just generally discussing the other person, even getting as close to talking bad about them, that's okay. But as soon as it gets to the point of personal attacks, to the point of one person being done and just completely, they can't even figure that out, that's when I would draw the line. Because I want this community to be a community of people who are there for each other, a community of people who are stronger together, not apart. And this is what I would do. I was always use common sense. Common sense is very important. And without it, we would be terrible society. So
Do
Yeah.
you believe that the government should be regulating the names of companies?
Um, that's a tricky one. I think that if with when you remove the child, the kid friendly rule, it opened up a lot of new names. But I think that na- any name that's going to the point of idiocy and the point of just childness or childishness is just too much. I see one of the questions in the chat is what about pot? Pot pot is a drug. We all know this. It's also known as weed, Mary Jane, marijuana.
Okay,
It goes by a lot of
that's
names.
not necessary. We
Okay,
got the
but
point.
okay, but I think that as long as it doesn't attack anybody, or as long as it's appropriate enough for just a general professional environment, then
Well, I will actually jump in here, and I'll say that when it comes to pot, the company is Potato Inc., so it actually makes sense.
yeah,
There are
yeah.
some companies that have names that do not make sense and are clearly just trying to like FUCK, and they're like Fire Under Corporate Kobe's Inc., and it's like okay, but obviously we are going to have to talk about that. So Etho, what is your position on this? Pope expanded the question to like all free speech, so I'll let you take a stab at that as well. Obviously, we have had problems on the server of having drama and personal attacks and raids and all that fun stuff. That's what happens when you have 4,000 people in one server. What do you think is the line? How do you think we enforce the rules without infringing on rights?
All right, thank you. So, what is important to me is that we are maintaining the freedom of speech that, as Pope mentioned, is written within the Constitution of Vooperia. It's important that we keep the basic rights of all our members and citizens intact, but as Pope had brought up, there is a certain point where you need to recognize that there's an issue when there's personal attacks being made. While people can express viewpoints that may be contrary to someone else, someone can disagree with someone else, but when it gets to the point of harassment, that's a point where we need to look at this and say, all right, is this person expressing their opinion, or are they intentionally attempting to harm this person? Obviously, no physical harm can be committed, but emotional harm is also something to take into consideration when we're talking about everyone. That's important that we keep everyone's emotional state to be intact and to not be negatively impacted. So that's my response really to the freedom of speech when it comes to the individual speaking. But when it comes to the names of companies, we did open ourselves up to having more mature names when we dialed down our kid friendliness. There are coincidental names, like for example, Pot was Potato Inc., but we really have to just play it on a case by case basis. I mean, if the person is looking to name a company and it just happens to come out to ASS, for example, like that's a very basic acronym that could just happen to happen. But if it's obviously blatantly put there for the sake of immaturity, then we need to consider that, speak to the person, and if they're stubborn about it, then we'll act from there.
Okay, so I'm going to actually start asking harder questions now that actually put you guys up against each other. So, I think we're going to start with Pope here, and I'm gonna try to be nice, but I'm also going to ask the questions that the voters are asking. Pope, one of the biggest criticisms of you right now is that you don't tend to take criticism very well, at least in their opinion. How will you, in the Vice Emperor position, where you have the entire country in front of you, be able to control yourself when you're criticized?
Personally, and from experience, I think constructive criticism is very important. And huge difference between constructive criticism and personal criticism. Constructive criticism is telling someone, your voice sounds bad, or you can't, can you do this better, or like just you guys know what constructive criticism is, but you get what I'm saying. The difference is constructive criticism is nice and actually giving advice and telling them what's wrong, and personal criticism is just attacking them for their character and their personality. Often I do get attacked from a lot of people by that, and often I do get pretty mad over that, but I'm not a child and I'm quite mature, and when I know when it's time for me to just suck it up and deal with it, I'll suck it up. But there's all of us also have a bad day sometimes, and that's very important to remember that we're all not perfect. We all have some issues sometimes, but I promise that when I am in the vice presidency, and if Tycho attacks me or someone attacks me in Spook Vooper, I will keep my calm. I won't go off like I've done in the past, because I see now how immature that is and just how childish that is. So that's my answer to your question.
Okay, Etho, it's your turn. Etho, your greatest criticism at the moment is the fact that you did disappear from Vooperia for almost a year and have just come back. Your what do you call them? Your criticizers? Critiques? Doesn't matter. The people who are saying this believe that you have not been reintegrated into Vooperian society long enough to be able to understand the community and how it's changed. How do you address these claims, and how will you be sure that you understand all of the things that happened while you were gone?
Well, I understand why people would be concerned about this. That's a whole entire year of development that, in a rapidly changing community, could mean a lot about how one who is in charge of making sure that it is running in a functioning manner. It's important for them to know that and how it runs. But while I did go for some period of time that, regrettably, I missed the developments that happened within that, I've been back for about 4 months now, and I've managed to find my way back in, and I've spoken to people who have been there since I got here back in 2017, people who have just gotten here within the past couple months. I've been able to finally find people who I just now became friends with, who have been here since during the time that I was gone, and I have had experience now. I've recently started to write bills along with several other members of the Senate, and they've been passed, and we've been making excellent progress, and I have the ability to adapt into that, and I feel like with that ability to adapt into the system and what I've been able to demonstrate, not only through what I've done in the Senate so far, which is still going on. I have much to do, but it's still progress nonetheless. And what I've been able to do with the community, I've been able to run the event that just happened the past couple days ago that a lot of people had a lot of fun with. I believe that I've found my way back in, and I'm not leaving anytime soon.
Okay, thank you, Etho. So now I'm going to ask some questions about your roles. So your first role as the Vice Emperor is going to be a permanent seat on the Senate. It's important because you will not be representing just a district in the Senate, but the entire country, unlike the average senator. Your job will be leading the Senate and its functions, which means being active and being aware of everything that's going on the server. How will you ensure that... Actually, I'm gonna rephrase that. Let me come up with an example. In the last version of the Senate, several very crudely written bills were brought into the Senate floor and almost made it through sometimes. How are you going to ensure that poor bills do not make it through the floor? And that's going to start with Etho.
All right. Now,
Elegate, I will let you know I am not reading off of a paper. I'm coming up with this as I go. Also, it's your bills I'm trying to prevent, Elegate. Okay, you can continue.
yeah, but now the government system that we have set up with Spook Vooper is one that can have the potential to work excellently, but it can also have the potential to fail to do its job if the members do not take it seriously and put an effort to it. In order for it to function properly, we need to ensure that we are electing senators who are both willing to commit themselves in a manner that is showing of someone who cares, and that they at least have some idea of how to propose something, whether that be a bill, an idea to revise a bill. It's important that these people have these skills, and I believe that once we start getting the elections running for the Senate, once the second session is in session, and we'll have the people find who they believe to be the most worthy of doing so. And I believe that the people of each district has the potential and the ability to decide who they best think would achieve these things both seriously and effectively.
Okay, thank you, Etho. I'm going to be asking a different question of you, Pope, just to try to get through more topics and more colorful conversation. Just for who turned on their camera? My God, you're ruining my feed.
Etho, I saw your face. Aw, I saw his face.
Etho just literally murdered everyone by trying to. Etho, you absolute meme! You hit the camera instead of the mute button.
I understand that. Yeah, I fixed it.
We saw the bottom and top of your face for about 2 seconds.
Your hair looks like Spike's hair on his PFP.
That's because there's no barbers, you meme. Anyways. Anyways, at least I'm not like
it didn't show on the video stream though. So.
At least I'm not streaming like the whole screen.
That would be bad. That would be really bad.
Anyways.
Dan just said that Etho was so cute.
Okay. Anyways,
no, I did pop out. Great.
It's
Etho
okay. We only got the top and very bottom of your face. Honestly, probably less than I accidentally leaked before I did my face reveal.
Sad.
Okay. Anyways, damn, I really did just lose the question I was about to ask. Give me a moment. This one's gonna be for Pope. Oh, Pope. Recently passed was the what was it? The District Autonomy Bill? Something like that. Which allows for districts to basically have differing man, give me 1 second. My head is cloudy. Recently, the District Autonomy Bill was passed, which allows for districts and the senators who lead them to choose laws that differ from imperial law to a point. Where do you believe the line is between district and regional powers versus imperial powers, and how far do you think we should be able to create district laws that encroach upon imperial powers? Do you believe that the smaller and more distinct districts should have more power, or the imperial government?
I'm so sorry, my mom just walked in the room. Could you ask me that question again?
God damn it, I worked so hard on that one.
I kind of got the basic idea, but I'm so sorry.
Okay. With the District Autonomy Bill passed, where do you think the line should be between district power and imperial power, and how can we balance the two to make the people happy while preventing people from skirting imperial law?
Okay, so this is a great question. If I'm elected, I will make sure that these districts have an opportunity to write their own laws for their own districts that are unique and different than what the federal requirements are, or imperial. But yeah, but what I'd also like to mention is back when we were in the old Senate, or the Silly's old Senate server, I remember I actually brought up, I think, to Spike or one of like Silly or the old Vice President Silly. I asked both of you, I think, we should. I remember saying we should totally do local government, and you guys were like, that would take too many people and this and that, and I kind of said, all right, that's true, and I forgot about it, but I promised myself I'd bring it up again in the future. And they actually proposed this bill when I was busy working with my parents on a project at our house, so that's why I missed being able to write in that. But yes, nonetheless, I would make sure that each district has the ability to write their own bills, and that the federal government can still have can look over what they're doing, but at the same time giving them the opportunity to write their own. That's important because our community is not divided, but it's divided into multiple districts, and a community that's divided into multiple districts needs to be able to regulate their own, or else they'll crack, or else the pressure will build too high and it'll explode. It's basic physics, but that's why I'm saying we give them the opportunity to learn their own ways of writing bills and learn how to structure their own districts, while making sure that it doesn't become too anti-Spike or too anti-Vooperia, like they're trying to secede or something. I will make sure that that doesn't happen. I will make sure that common sense is used at all times.
Okay, thank you, Pope. Etho.
Spike, can I... Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say something really quickly. You did say that Pope proposed the District Autonomy Act. That was Senator Mello, Hunk, and I.
I meant that the Senate did. When I said you, but yes, I will clarify. Pope did not pass that. That was the. I just meant the Senate in general.
Right.
So Etho, I'm gonna hit you a little bit hard with this one, but I think I hit Pope a little bit hard with the criticism one. So, Etho, you have been seen by voters as delving back and forth in between wanting a complete empire with little civil liberties, to wanting a communist regime, to wanting a hyper-capitalist society. With your wildly varying views on governance, how can voters believe in you to take one position and run with it to success?
Now, I do want to clarify for those of you who didn't hear about it once it was over, that the communist dictatorship was the April Fool's server joke. Which
okay.
happened...
For more context, I don't just mean the April Fool's joke. Before that, you have been recorded as saying that you believe that the government should just be a dictatorship. Now, I can't say whether or not you're saying that as just a joke, but I'd like you to clarify those statements.
Yeah, I'm glad that you asked to clarify, and I'd love my voters to be able to understand where I'm coming from. I do stand behind my economic policy and what I believe about civil liberties. That's why I passed the District Autonomy Act along with Senator Mello and Hunk, because I believe that it's important that we have an extent of civil and economic freedoms for our citizens. That's important. Any sort of references to authoritarian leanings or to communist regimes would be, just pure jokes. I mean, we're a government-based system on our server. I mean, we're bound to make jokes about government systems. That just occurs.
Okay, Etho, that is completely fair. Okay, so this is going to be a more important, and this is going to be a more structured question now. There is currently a national priority to balance the budget. We have 4 different taxes, we have government bonds, and we are still only making 25% of the money that will be required to keep the government afloat. Now, the injection rates are designed so that hopefully as the amount of money in the economy rises, the tax revenue will go up and it'll balance out. But what will you, as Vice Emperor, do if the government account runs dry? this is an emergency situation, and you would have to act quickly and efficiently, starting with Etho.
All right, now, one of the best things that the Vooperian nation has running for it is the stock market that runs its economy pretty much right now, and the businesses within it. Now, if the government is to run dry on funds, I believe that this is when the private sector really shows their ability to show how much they care about their own community that they are within. The system that I believe that is the best way to follow through with is to have a free private sector which is able to have economic freedoms and to thrive, but also needs to pay back to the community eventually. In a scenario like that would be the most the best course possible. But I'm not proposing any sort of tax on the businesses during this time, but rather paying it back from the businesses back to the government for this type of system that we're allowed.
So just to clarify, you believe in the case of a government default that you would be able to rally the private sector to inject money into the government?
I believe so. They're the private sector is given all of this ability and freedom by the government to run and prosper, and I believe it's only fair back for the private sector, which I believe is going to be thankful very much for the lifting of very restrictive policy in terms of taxation.
Okay, so Pope, I'm going to allow you to respond to that with what you think of it and what you think you would do in that situation.
All right. 1 second. I, in that situation, would personally, I would make sure that the government, if it's an emergency situation and needs to be figured out right then and there, I will not hesitate to inject money into the government. Now, before people, call me, an Argentinian
Money
politician.
printer go Bert.
Yeah, before people call me
It's
that.
okay, you don't have to worry. I just injected 40 million credits into the economy,
Sure.
but I did the math out, at least, so.
I did the math, #yang. Yeah, so I would make sure that what I inject is not a lot of money. I would make sure that what I inject is enough to get the government going for a day. After that day happens, I would talk to the experts and talk to my advisors, and I would figure out what to do at that point. But, coming from the top of my brain right now, I would probably set taxes higher. For that reason, I know you're going to call me like a communist or whatever, but the reason why I would do that is because Etho has a very optimistic view of the private sector. I personally consider myself I would consider myself I'm blanking. What's it called?
Capitalist.
A capitalist. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I consider myself a capitalist. Have very capitalistic intentions often. But I would make sure that the private sector would pay their dues for using our government for that long. At the same time, we have to remember that we can't just kill our economy because the government ran out of money, right? So we have to find a way to ensure that the government continues to be, at the top, and that the private sector doesn't completely crash down. So probably the best way to do that would be taxes, number one, and number two would be making sure that they don't spend all their money as soon as that happens, and don't sell all their stocks, and that we survive for the next day. So I'd make sure that we were stable.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, for both of them, both Etho and Pope, we're going to see a pretty similar answer here, because whenever you have a budget, there's two ways to raise more money. It's to cut spending or raise revenue. So both ways are different strategies. Etho did have an interesting answer there with asking nicely. I wouldn't have thought of that one, I'll be honest. I don't think of walking up to like Google and being like, "You want to pay?" But you know what? It may actually work. A lot of people are very patriotic in Vooperia, so we will see if that'll work in the future. I guess if Etho wins. Anyways, let's go on to the next thing. Let me look through some of these questions I've gotten. I wish I had some like elevator music. I've went through a lot of questions here. Sorry, you too.
You're all good. Don't worry.
Oh, here's a good one. So, as you both know, but maybe the people watching don't, Vooperia works upon a system of ranks which are calculated through XP, which comes from different means of activity. Some people believe that right now it is too easy to become ranked, and some people believe that it's far too hard to become ranked. The rank calculations can be modified. Do you believe that they should be tweaked in any way, or do you believe they should be kept as is, and why? This one's going to go to Pope to start.
Well, I think the ranks, personally, are pretty stable as they are. I mean, a lot of people complain, and that's all that. But when you really think about it, the ranks, if they're at a hard level like they are now, they drive activity. They drive people to want, if they're really dedicated to Vooperia, they will work hard and type their keyboard off. They will work really hard and be active often and get those XP points, and you never know, they could get the spleen rank. That's the type of thing that I want. I want it to be, because competition drives success. You see it in the economy, you see it in our society. Competition drives success. You know, the best of the best. We're looking for the best of the best, and that's why I think that having a challenging system is important. And then I'm going back to my thing. We also have to make sure that new people can feel included by having a rank and receiving a little more money than maybe 5-minute, old people. So that's pretty important. And I may even consider creating a new rank between the oof rank and no rank. Maybe a rank for people who type one. I don't know how the system works, but 100 to 1,000 messages or something reasonable, so that people who may not be as active because they might have school can still feel like they're included in the community. So that's what I would do.
Okay. Etho, I'm just going to ask you the same question here. You can respond to Pope's idea or present your own.
All right, thank you. Now, I agree with most of what Pope says. I don't really see a reason to lower or raise the requirements for a rank upgrade. If we were to lower it, it would be far too easy to achieve a rank, and there would be a loss of drive to achieve it. And if we were to make it harder, it's already pretty hard as it is, and to make it harder would be completely unreasonable. But to make more ranks, I feel like the system we have right now works perfectly. There's a drive to achieve the higher ranks in our system, and if we were to add in more, it's just more steps on the same staircase. It makes little to no sense.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, that's just about it.
So, we are going to have one final question from me. Got a few ideas here. You know what?
Could you ask like a question more based on the Senate, because we haven't really been talking operations of the Senate much at all. Just saying.
Yeah. I have been thinking about the Senate as well. I'm just trying to ask questions that are going to reflect more to the Vooperian people. How the Senate functions and stuff are important, but considering there's only 15 people in the Senate out of 4,000, it doesn't. Nobody really. People care about what the Senate's going to do that's going to affect them.
Understood.
But what I'm going to ask of each of you, and I'm going to flip a coin to see who goes first. Aaron, coin me. Quarter me. Never mind, I'll do it. God, you have a giant jar
Oh, I forgot that was
of
there.
coins. right next to you. Okay, so you guys have been doing a lot of agreeing, and you've actually been agreeing so much that it's going to be kind of hard for our viewers to be able to separate the two of you mentally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for I want you to tell me what sets you apart from the other candidate and what you believe you can do better. What is your strength against your other candidate? And you can inverse that and say what you think their weakness is. But I'm going to flip this coin. Who wants to call? You can call a side.
I'll call heads.
I'll call tails.
Okay. That is Tails. Who was Tails?
That was me.
Okay, Pope. I'm gonna let you go first.
All right. People of Vooperia, I know that.
1 second. Aaron's too lazy to pick the coin up.
Oh my
You threw it. I'm not gonna pick it up for you.
Okay, you can restart there.
Okay, just tell me when I can go.
You're good. You're good.
Oh, I can? Okay, alright, sounds good. People of Vooperia, the thing about me is I just do things. I get things done. I don't care about things that will stop progress in a negative way and that will hurt the community. I will work for the community and I will do what is right when it's needed. Every single time. No matter what, no matter who's trying to go against me for some evil plot or something. Whatever it is, I will get it done. That is what I consider myself and my strength to be. I just do things. It's just in my blood. And so if a problem arises, I'll just fix it. It's that simple. That's how I am. And when I do that, I will do it well and I will do it properly. Yeah.
Is there any way you can contrast that to say?
Oh yeah, sure.
What do you think puts you
Okay.
in a position where Etho is
Alright.
not in the same position? Because
So-
I'm sure if I asked Etho, are you going to get things done quickly, efficiently, and get it done? He's going to say, yes, I will get it done quickly and efficiently, and I'll get it done.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I also work well with people. Well, Etho is one of my close friends, and I know him pretty well. He's a great guy. I believe that, like you said, he's been inactive. Just today, when I was in the Senate with a bunch of other senators, we were working on bills. We were accepting applications for grants. Which, by the way, if you need one, you should go apply for one. But me and the senators, we're working hard at work on those things. And I tagged Etho and I was like, "Hey, man, can you come in? We got to work on this." And he said, "I can't right now. I'm busy." And well, I respect the fact that you've got a life outside of this, and I do too. But if you're not going to be active in the Senate and active in Spook Vooper when we need you, that's a problem. Because the people of Vooperia need someone who's there for everybody, no matter what, whenever they need it. And so that's how it would be for me, no matter where I am in the world. In Puerto Rico, like I was a couple weeks ago, if I fly out to Florida to see some family, or I go to different places, I promise that I will always, no matter what, be there to solve a problem. And I think that a lot of other people in this, especially in Spook Vooper, like such as Tycho or Etho or every other person that especially Zero something, he's not very active, but yeah, I would always be there whenever you need me. Tag me, even today. If you want to ask me a question about my campaign, just DM me and I'll answer your question. I will be there to do it whenever it's needed. So yeah.
Okay, Etho, I'm going to allow you to respond to anything Pope said, and I'm going to allow you to put what you think your advantage is.
All right, thank you, Spike. Now, in response to what Pope had said, yes, we do have, many people, you and I both have different things going on outside of the server. And I understand that it might be concerning that I was unable to make it today, but I have shown activity once. I've been a senator for a couple days now. It hasn't been really much of a long time, but even in preparation to be a senator back in the old server that we had, and in the time that I have been a senator, I have been able to pass legislation. The District Autonomy Act was passed by a couple other people and I just yesterday, and we were able to make progress. And I've been present with that. What and obviously, it was only inclusive of us. There was, a lack of other senators there. And obviously, that would include you, but I don't blame you. This is not something that you were there for, and that's all right. It happens. People are different places at different times. And I can ensure I've been on Spook Vooper every day. I have been there. I have spoken. People can talk to me at any time. I'm that friendly admin that just hangs around and happens to make goofy communism jokes. Hell, I turned the entire server into a communism joke for April Fools. But it's I understand there is an extreme importance in activity, and I can definitely say that I will uphold my activity and I will continue it going straight through. Now, in terms of strengths and weaknesses, a strength that I see within my own ability is an ability to communicate with other people. We have 4,000 people in the entire server. That's a large amount of people, and many of them, they receive information through Spike's channel. They receive information through the Discord itself, and we need someone in the position of Vice Emperor who is a communicator. They need to be able to efficiently and accurately convey information to other people, and we need someone who is clear and concise, and I believe that that is one of my strengths. I'm able to convey what needs to be conveyed to a group of people, and I know how to work with people. In terms of my opponent's weakness, what I do find is that Pope, in his economic policy, is, while he takes a moderate position, that can be seen as something that would be positive. But I believe in the current situation that we're looking at, we can't work with moderate economic policy. His policy would keep the economy stagnant, and if not, it would start to dip. We need to have an economic policy that stimulates the economy right now in a time where the economy isn't doing too hot. We need to ensure that the economy is able to thrive, and my economic policy supersedes the ability to grow the economy over what Pope's economic policy would be able to do. It's too moderate.
Can I make a counter to that?
Well, you can choose to. I am now going to give both of you an amount of time to talk about whatever you want to end with. I would suggest making it about what you plan on doing first thing you want to get done when you get into the if you're elected into your position. Basically, in the United States, they ask, what are you going to do in your first 100 days of the presidency? So what are you planning on doing in the first few weeks of your vice emperorship? And if you wish to talk upon another point, you can do that as well. Just make sure you don't run too long. So we're going to go ahead and go with Pope. This is going to be your last speaking portion, so make sure you touch upon any points that you've missed.
Okay. So my plan, as soon as I gain vice emperorship, I am going to start drafting a labor law bill, and what that will do is it will regulate businesses and make sure that businesses must treat Vooperians with a certain amount of respect and give them certain rights that they deserve. One of those things that I promise that I'm going to pass and write is that is an amendment which states the minimum wage, and I think that a minimum wage can benefit Vooperia in a lot of ways. It'll allow the gap between the rich and the poor to become a little less, and give new people an opportunity to make money. And you hear a lot of success stories from a lot of CEOs in the real world. I started off at a business at McDonald's, or I started in a small car shop, or I was washing cars for a living. That's how they earn that money to begin investing in their business. So having a minimum wage is important to the development of future Vooperian companies. And while I think that it's very important for that, but we also need to make sure that companies are not, being charged too much. So I'm going to make a fair and reasonable minimum wage that makes sense and gives opportunities for everybody. Another thing I'd like to touch on is my experience in the Senate. I've been in the Senate since day one. I've been working hard at work for the Vooperia people since I was elected that first Senate session. The first bill that I passed was the Senate Structure Amendment, which created a structure for the Senate and allowed the Senate to, run elections more efficiently and allowing the Vooperian people to have more say in the Senate. And not only that, but after I finished that, I went on to write many bills with LJ and other people in my party to improve. I'm blanking right now, but there was a couple good bills which I can't remember the names of, but I believe one of them was we passed. I can't remember, but I'll find it and I'll make sure to tell you in the chat. But once I find it, I will. Yeah, I'll tell you guys. But I think that my experience in the Senate is better than most of the people who I'm up against. Etho, for example, this is, tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is your first session as being a Senate, as for being a senator. So my question for all of you is, why should he be a senator if sorry, why should he be the lead senator as the vice emperor when he's only had experience as a senator for one session? Experience drives success. You need to know how to do your job in order to perform it well. So you can't expect a newcomer like Etho to know what to do immediately and know how to operate the Senate and how to, operate votes. And these are things that, a veteran needs to know. So all I'm saying is that if you want someone who's going to run the Senate efficiently and who's going to treat all Vooperians with honor and decency and respect like they deserve, then you should vote for me, because I'm here for everybody, no matter who they are. And not only that, but I'd like to touch on Etho's old point of the economy, where I don't take a moderate view. I take a view of everybody. I look at every point and I say, is this good? Yes or no? Is this good? Yes or no? And I ask more questions than just that. I look into it. I ask my advisors, is this going to benefit Vooperia? Is this going to take away from Vooperia? And that's my thing, is I look at every problem. I'm not biased. Just because Tycho wrote a bill doesn't mean I'm going to shoot it down immediately. I'm going to look at it and say, okay, does this have information and resources in it that will benefit everybody and benefit, Vooperians? So that's what I promise that I'm going to do. I don't know how much time I have longer, but I know that what I'm doing is going to help everybody. If you want to join my campaign, either DM me, I'll send you the invite link to our server, or just vote. That's all you got to do. Bring your friends, invite them to the Spook Vooper Discord. Vote. Voting is the best way to get your voice heard in this election. And that's really, really what this is about, is coming together and such. So, how much longer do I have, Spike?
That's gonna be it. You're right on the line there. Okay. God, I'm just playing with a banana.
Oh, I was like, why are you laughing? I was like, what?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I gave the banana a weapon.
Very threatening scissors.
Okay.
Oh my god, I'm looking on the. Oh my god, Spike, what did you do?
Etho, you can now start.
Thank you. Now, I do want to start with what my fellow candidate did just mention about experience. Now, I will concede that I have much less experience in the Senate than my other candidate does. But what I do have, and what matters most, is experience with the people that you are going to be serving in that position. I have been on this server since 2017. I know the people that I'm going to be working with, and that's why I'm emphasizing a campaign based not just on the government, but the people that the government is serving. The people do not serve the government serves the people, and we need to remember that. We need to have a government that works for the people of the server and of the nation of Vooperia and make sure that it works efficient. One of the main things that I want to work on outside of the economic policy is ensuring that we have events that are fun and engaging for the entire community. We have the Ministry of Events that exists as a separate portion of our government. And as the Vice Emperor, I would ensure that we have a Ministry of Events that is bolstered with people who are aware of how to make events fun and engaging, with people who are there and have ideas, because we want to drag in the people who have the creativity to make these events, whether that be on the server, whether that be in a game. It's important that we have the ability to make events like game night, for example, more fun and engaging, with a Ministry of Events that is able to achieve something like that. Now, in regards to economic policy, I did call my fellow candidate moderate because he does, while he does look to have some extent of fiscal liberties, it's also evident that he has some policies which would be considered much more economically left, in terms of he did mention a minimum wage. While it is important that we have a minimum wage, we have no idea what he wants to set this minimum wage to. It could be anything, for all we know. And it's important that we ensure that we have someone who knows how to run an economy that will run efficiently, smoothly, and continue to grow at a rate which benefits everybody. We can't let the economy stagnate. That's going to be detrimental to every single person, not only the businesses, but the consumers. We need to emphasize every single part of our economy. We can't emphasize just the government, because while it's important to make sure that we have the government in a position where it's able to assist the community cannot run in the way that we're looking for with NerdCraft and the stock market without an economy that functions. And we need to have policy that reflects that. And that also leads into the UBI. It's important, and we'd spoken about the UBI earlier, but it's important that we have these systems in a time where the economy is flatlining right now. But we need to get rid of it eventually. This is government money that we're running out of. There's only such a limited amount that we can use, and we need to make sure that we're spending it on the right things. And then I do finally want to end on the ability for districts and certain senators within their own districts to ensure that they are making legislation that is relevant and fair within their own districts. It's important to have federal law that goes across all districts, but there's some federal law that might just be too vague to work within districts. It's important that, especially in order for businesses and citizens to thrive within these districts, that they have laws and legislation that is relevant to them and works for them. That's one of the most important things that I'm looking to do. And to do that, we are going to expand the District Autonomy Acts and ensure that senators have the autonomy to make laws that are relevant, because we can't have laws that are not relevant to these districts. It makes no sense. And before I close, I do want to say that it is important that we make the right decision this time. I don't know what all of you out there think that may be, but I have faith in every single one of the voters out here listening that you will make the decision that is best suited for Vooperia, because that's what we need to ensure, that the people elect someone who they believe will do the job and do the job right. And I have faith in each and every one of you to make that decision. You can express that by voting, and if you'd like to support my campaign, just feel free to DM me, ask me any questions. I am more than willing to respond to any single person who wants to ask about my campaign and what we're trying to do together to improve Vooperia. And I have a Discord server where we can discuss this. Policy is over there if you'd like to read in more about it. And there are announcements regarding the campaign and the race for Vice Emperor there too. And I'd like to thank you all for coming today, and with that, I conclude.
Before we end here, I'd like to ask each of you, obviously, now that I am a permanent kind of permanent figurehead, I no longer really have to worry about elections. But I would like to ask you, because obviously you both are the top candidates who are going to be building uh, parties. I'd like to ask each of you which party you identify with, because I'm going to set you guys up with roles, and I'm going to allow people to set their own roles as well, so that we can hopefully see how people feel in the Discord server. So I don't care if you make up a new one or if you want to go with an old one. Obviously, there's the Vooperian party, there is the Dolphin party, there is the Gamers Workers party. I don't care. I just want to know what party you identify with the most. And we'll start with you, Pope.
Okay. So for me, choosing a party is a decision that I take very highly. Choosing a party will decide generally if I am the if I'm the vice emperor, then the whoever's party the VE is, then that will most likely become the majority. I'm not saying that it's definitely, but it most likely will. And I have to choose a party that's smart, a party that agrees with my morals and my values, and a party that I know that I can trust and rely on to do, to do the right thing for Vooperia. And in the past servers, I've aligned with the Dolphin Party. I still agree with most of their policies, but I want to encourage all of you to know that I most likely will not be going back to the Dolphin Party or the Vooperian Party. I feel like that it is best for the Vice Emperor to stay independent and run on a party ticket that is for everybody, not just for a party. That's not a permanent decision. I will change my decision most likely, but until things stabilize out with the Dolphin Party and the Vooperian Party, and we figure out, what policies are on each side, then I will choose. But for now, I'm staying independent because I don't think that I don't know the Dolphin Party's policies currently. But that's my reasoning, and that's what I'm gonna do. So.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Etho now.
All right, now I believe that in order to ensure that we have a government system that runs in full support of the Vooperian people, we need the party that has always stood behind the Vooperian people and stands for the national ideas of Vooperia itself. And that's why I'm going to stick to the party that I've always aligned myself with, and that would be the Vooperian Party. And that's because that is a party that stands for the national ideas of the Vooperian system. And while I may not have many of the same economic ideas that may come from some of the more moderate members of the party, I believe that it's important that I put myself through with the party that I've always aligned myself with, because it's a party of unity and strength for the entire Vooperian nation. And that's the only way that we're going to be able to achieve something together, to work through our common ground and our unity through the fact that we're all Vooperians. And that's important. We need to remember that always. That regardless of our political affiliation, we are all one people. And that's what I believe the Vooperian Party stands for.
Okay, thank you both for joining me today. The public has had plenty of time to see both of your platforms, and I wish you both good luck. Obviously, I've been through this before, probably much higher stakes. Things can get quite nasty out there. Just keep your eyes on focus on the fact that when you're competing against each other politically, things can get tense, things can get angry, but we're all Vooperian, and we're all just trying to make things better in our own way. We're all doing this to help people, and neither of us, or none of us, I'm so used to being one of the people, none of us are trying to go against the will of the people or to hurt the people. So just keep that in mind, and I wish you both a good time. Thank you for being on this interview. And anyone who's watching right now, if you have no clue what we're talking about, please click on the link in the description to join the Discord. The Discord politics and economy are a big part of this channel now, so make sure you click on it. In the link below, there's 4,000 of us who are simulating a better reality where we're not all stuck inside because of a pandemic. So I'll see you all next time. Thank you all for watching, and if you both would like to say goodbye, you may do so.
Thank you for having me, Spike. I appreciate it. And thank you, Pope, for coming here. It's been great to talk and really just put ourselves out there to the
Same to
Vooperian
you,
people.
Etho. Same to you, Etho, and I wish you luck on your campaign and party.
You as well.
Okay, folks, that's it. So, a little bit of post interview. I will be taking a few questions for my perspective on things for the next like 5 minutes. I would like to say that right now I am in fact leaning towards the banana for Vice Emperor platform, but we'll see if that changes in the coming months. So, any questions? If not, I'll just end this because it's been a long time and I really have to make an actual video. Who do you endorse? Honestly, I was originally going to endorse Pope because of his time in the community, but I think that Etho has shown that he does have a pretty thorough understanding of the systems we have. So honestly, I'd say I'd even between them. Obviously, since Etho is joining the party that I used to represent, I'm a little bit happy about that, having at least one person representing my personal values. But again, it's not really my party anymore because I'm now kind of an emperor for life. So I will try to guide anyone in the Vooperian party in the right direction, but I'm not going to be taking a massive personal stake in this. So, when are you adding the ability to delete companies? If I hear this question one more time, I'm going to stab myself on stream. How do you support Etho? Or Empire? Spiels? What is even going on? Who is the next probable candidate? When are you adding the... Oh my god. Do we have any real questions about the candidates? Any real well, I'll give it 10 seconds for any real questions. Damn it, I dropped my pen. Oh well, I have about 800 more. No, I have to get it. Otherwise, my floor is just going to be covered in pens. This is what being an adult is about. Picking up your pens when you drop them. Oh, are you going to turn that? Nope, that's not a question about the candidates. Okay, I guess we're going to wrap up then. I am giving full and complete permission to any news company to use these clips. So SV News Plus, I know of, Fox News, Jack News, whoever wants to use these clips may do so. Just make sure to link to the Discord, and that's going to be it. Thank you all for watching.